And we are back for another episode of the Rants of a Red Devil podcast. It's the match review of the Southampton game in what has been a very, very good weekend for Man United. Chelsea dropping points, and it's pretty ironic since they've changed their shirt sponsor to 3. All they've seemed to do is ship 3 goals a game. Getting beaten at the weekend by Sheffield United, so that's done us a massive favour. This is being recorded before Bournemouth take on Leicester, so Villa have already beaten Crystal Palace, which is a bit of a surprise result, especially how Villa played against us. Thought they were particularly poor, so hopefully Bournemouth will come out all guns blazing and get something out of that game against Leicester. But as it stands, it's in United's hands. Third place is solely in United's hands. If we win our 4 remaining games, we finish 3rd. And it's as simple as that. It doesn't matter what any other team do, doesn't matter what Chelsea do or Leicester do. If we win our remaining 4 games, we will finish 3rd. And we can't ask for more than that. We couldn't have asked for more than that to be in this position at this point of the season, especially when we were 6 points behind, or earlier in the season every time Chelsea dropped points we slipped up as well. We could never capitalise. So hopefully against Southampton we will be able to capitalise on that. The Villa game, as we said in the match review, I thought we were a little bit pedestrian. In terms of the performances that we've come to see from United and now come to expect, it was a little bit laboured. I don't think it was the same level as as those performances against Sheffield United, Bournemouth or Brighton. So I think we're going to have to step it up back to those sort of levels to beat Southampton. They're in a good run of form, picking up a draw last game against Everton. They've probably got one of the most informed players in the league at the moment in Danny Ings. He just seems to score goals. They've obviously beaten City. So they're not going to be a pushover. They're not going to be an easy game, and it's a team that we've in the past struggled against, Southampton. And I think Ollie hit the nail on the head when he says his team's not going to be outworked. I think that's the key to beating Southampton. They're going to work hard and they're going to be organised and they're going to hit you on breaks. We can't be outworked by Southampton. We've got to cover just as many miles as they do on a pitch and just put in those hard yards, because it's not going to be easy. Like I say, they've got players that can hurt you. Danny Ings, obviously the informed player at the moment, chasing that golden boot. They've got players like Ward-Prowse that you just don't want to give silly set pieces away around the box because he will punish you. They've got players like Nathan Redmond with the pace on the counter attack, Stuart Armstrong. So they've got players in that team that can hurt you. We need to be aware of that. We can't take sort of a gung-ho approach and just go for it, because they will hit us on the break and they will punish us. So I think we need to be clever with how we set up. We've got to understand that it's going to be a game of hard work and we're going to have to put that work in order to beat Southampton. But with the way that we were playing, I don't see why not. Like I said, I don't think we ever really got out of 3rd gear against Aston Villa. Players were able to have a rest when we got up to 3 goals up. So she was able to give players a rest, which is what we need. We need a bit of a rest going into this game. So like I say, it's going to be covering a lot of ground. So hopefully we're approaching it in the sort of best way possible. Really, we've got players that are sort of fresh, had a bit of a break halfway through the Villa game. And we're ready to go again. Then after this one, it's Thursday, and then it's the FA Cup semi-final. So it'll be interesting to see what Ollie does do with his squad, especially for Thursday. But in terms of the predicted starting 11 for the visit of Southampton, I think we're going to be seeing David De Gea in goal. He had practically a night off against Villa. Very quiet game. I can't foresee it being the same again for him against Southampton. I think he will be tested and he needs to stand up to that test because there's still question marks over him. But he keeps the gloves. At right back, it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But again, I think he had a bit of an off night against Villa. Got caught under the ball a couple of times for a few crosses, looked a little bit out of sorts, didn't really track flights or track men like we've become accustomed to. So again, he's going to have to put his performance levels somewhere back to where we expect them to be in order to have a good game against Southampton. But he gets the nod at right back. The centre-back pairing, I think they're starting to pick themselves now. Harry Maguire, obviously captain. Again, he's had a couple of ropey games. He didn't look completely solid against Villa, but obviously did enough to get the clean sheet. And alongside him, it's going to be Victor Lindelof. Like I said, this partnership's beginning to pick itself now. And at left back, I think he's going to stick with Luke Shaw. I've been much more impressed by him in recent weeks. My biggest criticism of Luke Shaw was always his ability going forward and providing that overlap for Marcus Rashford. I always felt that Shaw wanted to come inside and Rashford was always sort of really isolated. He never got that half a yard from the overlapping fullback, just sort of taken the eye of his man away. But in the last couple of games, Shaw's actually overlapping. He's getting to the byline. He's putting in crosses. So that's what I want to see more from Luke Shaw. Just his willingness to bomb on, even if he doesn't get the ball, he creates that half a yard for somebody like Marcus Rashford to really go and punish defences. So I've been much more impressed in the past couple of weeks about with what I've been seeing from Luke Shaw. Midfield, it's going to be Nemanja Matic. I think he's rejuvenated since he's come back into the side. Earlier in the season, he sort of looked all washed up, all at sea. He was on his way out. Nobody got faith in him. He came back in. He earned his place. He worked hard to get his place, and he's cemented it since he's been back in the side. Like I've said before, I love his ability to just drop in, effectively make a back three with Maguire and Lindelof, and allow the full-backs to go forward. Just that splitting of the centre-backs is something that I really like about Nemanja Matic. He's our most gifted defensive midfielder. He reads the game very well. So I think he starts. And alongside him, it's Paul Pogba. I mean, he's sort of been a bit unsung recently, since he's sort of forced his way back into the team after his 20-minute cameo against Tottenham. I don't think he's put a foot wrong. I've seen a desire in Pogba that I've not seen for a very long time. And obviously adding the goal to his game against Villa will do him the world of good. And for the first time, I'm starting to think that he potentially may stay and want to stay, which is the important thing when it comes to Paul Pogba. I think he's liking going under the radar a little bit. He's not going to stand at the front and be a leader of your team. Like I've said before, when you look at where Paul Pogba's done well, he's always had brilliance around him. He's just sort of been able to go under the radar. He's now got that with Bruno Fernandes, and I think this partnership is suiting him brilliantly. Moving up to the forward players, it's going to be Rashford on the left. He's obviously got his goal against Bournemouth. He looks sharp against Villa. I think we're starting to see the Marcus Rashford from earlier in the season, before he was injured. He's bringing so much to the team, doing things unselfishly for the team. I think he's been brilliant all season, and he's one of the first names on the team sheet. The first name on the team sheet is the next man up. It's Bruno Fernandes. He plays every single game without a shadow of a doubt. He's what makes United tick. Since he's come in January, we've looked a different side. We've looked like we can beat anybody. He's come in and he's been absolutely brilliant. He's a leader. We saw him against Villa having discussions with players about runs to make and whatnot. He's an absolute leader, and I think he just has to play every game. He just has to. And on the right, I think it's going to be Mason Greenwood. Potentially this is, again, could suit Dan James with Southampton. They will come out and play here. So there could be a bit of space in behind, but I think it's unfair to be dropping Mason, especially with how he's performing recently, just banging in goals. always looks dangerous, always looks a threat. He's got to play for me. And up top, it's going to be Martial. We saw how moody he was when he was subbed against Villa, and personally I like to see that. I like to see a player that wants to stay on the field and do well for the team and himself. Let's be honest about it. He's grumpy because he wants goals, and that can only benefit the team. So I'm happy to see that. And I think he's having the best season he's ever had at United in terms of numbers, but in terms of performance as well. He looks a more complete striker now. So pretty much I think it's going to be an unchanged starting 11. With how we've been playing and the points we've been picking up, I just don't think at this point of the season Ollie can start chopping and changing it. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what he does about Palace with one eye on the semi-final. But at the moment, it's all about momentum. Like I said, it's in our hands. We cannot let this slip. It's all about momentum. He's got to stick with the team that are doing the job, and that's an unchanged starting 11 yet again. I think he's now starting to realise what his best 11 is, and they're the ones that take into the field week in, week out. And like I say, they're producing the goods. If we look at form table since February, United are top. So this team is rolling. This team is building that momentum to really fire into the back end of the season, and then the continuation of the Europa League. And as tough as it might be playing quick games in succession every couple of days, Solskjaer's got to do this. He's got to continue to stick with this team that's building, this team that's producing, this team that's rolling up with this momentum. So for me, he can't change it. He's got to go strongest 11. And he's just got to go and try and get the job done early, as he has done in the past, and allow players to have a rest. In terms of score, I don't think that this one is going to be as easy as the ones we've seen in the past couple of games. Southampton are a good side. They're going to work hard and they've got quality in the team. I don't think this is going to be a situation where United are going to be 3 up after an hour and Solskjaer can ring the changes. I think this one's going to be a graft. I think this one's going to be the toughest game probably since we've come back with Project Restart. And especially in terms of what's at stake. We need to win to really put it in our hands. I think we will get the win, but like I say, I think it'll be a lot closer than the other games, and I think that this is going to end as a 2-1 win for United. So thank you for listening to this match preview. If you do enjoy these podcasts, if you could subscribe on whatever platform that you listen to them, so whether that be iTunes or watching them here on YouTube, if you could click subscribe and like the episode. You can also listen to them on Spotify or on our website, www.rantsofareddevil.com, where you can also find other United related content, and after the game we will have a written match review on site, giving our thoughts on the game. Like I say, other content is available on there, sort of our thoughts on the season, our thoughts on specific instances that have happened, so you can go and check that out as well. And that's it. Hopefully we get another 3 points. It's another positive match review and the job gets done and it stays well in our hands. So until we get to the match preview of the Crystal Palace game, we will see you then.